Hi, it's Susan. Welcome back to my channel. I have something completely different for you today. This is nothing to do with making journals, but it is to do with books. Some of you may know from my lives or other discussions with me or following me on Facebook that before I devoted myself full-time to art, I was actually a writer of children's books, and I did have a lot of them published, both in the United States and abroad. And geez, I did that for about, well, various things in the writing world for over 30 years. I wrote children's books, I wrote magazine articles, I worked for newspapers, I did all kinds of that kind of stuff. So anyway, with all the renovations and stuff, my books were buried in the back of the garage, and I did finally find them, and I have an excess of books that I am going to put up for sale. Now, here's the thing you may not know about the writing industry, but people think that authors get their books for free. Nope, doesn't happen. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a few in your contract. You can write that you're going to get a few for free, but we have to buy our books just like you guys have to buy our books. We do sometimes get a discount, but what I have are books that I have acquired over the many years and I would take with me when I would do school visits and stuff. I don't have a copy of every one of my books. One of my books, Oliver's Must-Do List, I think it's still in print on Amazon, but I'm not sure. I don't have a copy of that, and a couple of other ones, and some books that, well, I might have a couple copies of, I'm not so proud of, so they can just stay out in the garage. So anyways, here are some of the books that I have. I will go through and try and tell you a little bit about them, and then here's the deal. Right now, I can only do U.S. shipping, and I will ship them via media mail, and the price that I give you on the books will include that shipping via media mail. If you want books to be sent to you sooner, that's great. Just send me a note, and I can weigh things and then let you know what it would cost to get to you sooner. And if you are outside of the United States and you want a book, I'm totally fine with doing that. I just need to get your information so that I can get you a price on it, all right? I just couldn't include it in the free shipping thing, but we'll work something out that makes happy for both of us. I think that's what I've got, so let's just go through them, and I will talk it through, and if you have any questions, put them down in the messages below or send me an email. And these will be first come, first serve. I do not have an unlimited quantity. Some books I have a lot of, some of them I have just a few. Like these. These are the first two books that I actually ever saw in print, and they are what's called easy readers. They first sold to a New Zealand company, I think it was, Windy Pie, and so they were published in New Zealand and Australia, or maybe they sold in Australia, I don't remember, but they were in those two countries, and then they were finally here in the US, and they were for a school reading program. These were written when my kids were about the age of the kids on these books, and my kids are now 37 and 40, so you can tell that's been a while. So these are for kids that are, starting to read on their own, and these two books are about a brother and sister, and, they get into fights and they get into trouble, but then they come back together again. So this is Did Not Did So, which is introducing Nathan and Nora, and this is the best dog in the whole world because they wanted a dog, they found a dog, and they got a dog. So that's what those are. The paperbacks of any of the paperbacks that I show you are going to be $7 each, and that will include, like I said, media shipping. And any of the hardbacks I show you will be $15 each, except for one, which I will explain when we get down below. This is the first picture book that I ever sold, Can I Pray With My Eyes Open? And it had a wonderful long life with Hyperion. I think it was in print for 10 years. And what I loved about this book was that it was non-denominational. It did not mention the word God. So it was a funny story. At Barnes & Noble for a book signing one day, a guy came over to me and he said, I have to let you know, he says, I was all set to get really mad about this book because I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and I just was sure that it was going to go against the stuff that I believed in. And he said, and I read it, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you. So over the years, it's been kind of interesting to see the comments from people. Although it's a picture book, many adults use it in their adult Bible study. And it is, picture book language, very simple story about a girl that wonders, where is the right time to pray? And this book kind of came to me as a gift. I was in a hard time in my life, and I was reminded of a hard time when my grandfather died. and it sort of triggered a memory when a minister in a church told me that I could only pray in the church, in a pew, with my head down and my eyes closed. And I just felt like that was wrong. And I was right, of course. And so that memory came back to me when I was in a rough spot in my adult life. And this story is the result of it. And the pictures in this are just beautiful. Garen Baker was the illustrator. And he used his children and his wife and his home as the model for this book. So that is Can I Pray With My Eyes Open? That would be $15, including shipping. This one I have both hardback and paperback. Robert Small's Sails to Freedom. This is for a slightly older reader. And this is the true story about a slave, Robert Smalls, in South Carolina, who grew up a slave and got married and had children and wanted to provide a better life for his children. So you can see this is more like an easy reader. And as he got older, you know, he was doing different jobs, and his money, any of the money that he made, went back to his master, and he thought, you know, there has to be a better thing to do. So he was working in the harbor and watched the way the captain ran the boat, taking supplies out to various places, and the war was going on, and he figured out that maybe he could impersonate this captain and he could steal this boat and take this Confederate boat with all these cannons and deliver it to the Union Army. And so he did that, and he took his wife and his 2 children and some other people with him, and he was able to deliver the boat to the Union troops, and then he was free. And then he went into politics and did a lot of things in South Carolina, and he served at the House of Representatives for 5 terms. So he was appointed to the U.S. Collector of Customs in Beaufort, South Carolina, and held this job for 20 years. So he really, he was really a brave guy, and I was fascinated by his story. So we have this in both hardback and a few in soft cover. That's Robert Small's Sails to Freedom. This is another true story about the same age group, Enrique Esparza and the Battle of the Alamo. And this was the story of a young boy at the time of the war when the Battle of the Alamo was going to happen, and he and his family had to, you know, go hide out in the Alamo. And his uncle was actually on the other side. So 2 brothers were fighting one another, and it's just the story of what it might have been like inside there. And again, this is based on a true story, on a real person. This is for a slightly older reader. Again, it's an easy reader, but, you know, a little bit wordier. Many kids are reading on an advanced word level now, so, or reading level now. And it's got some wonderful illustrations. So this tells the story of the Battle of the Alamo, and then a little bit about Enrique at the end. And this also has a reader's theater in it. So if you're a teacher, you have a little script included in that. So that is Enrique Esparza, The Battle of the Alamo, and I have that in both hardcover and softcover. This is the book of my heart, Hugging the Rock. This in both hardcover and softcover. This is a middle grade verse novel. And by that, I mean that the entire book is written in verse. And while that's more popular now, when I wrote this, in fact, the book almost didn't sell. I had beautiful rejection slips from people saying, you know, I just don't know that the verse novel is going to stick around. And that's just really funny now because it's become one of the most popular forms of storytelling. It's a lot of white space on it, so for readers that are slightly intimidated, it appeals to them. So this is a story about a girl, she's about 10, and her father and her mother has some mental illness issues. And she finally just decides to leave one day, and she leaves the girl with her father. And she's always described her father as a rock, as somebody being just really hard and quiet and untalkative, and they just didn't have much of a communication relationship, and she just didn't know her father, and she loved her mom, but she had to learn how to live without her mom because her mom wasn't coming back. And so this chronicles the first year, and let's see if I can find one of the things there. The first month, 2 months after, that sort of thing. Here's the first poem. I'll go ahead and read it to you. Well, not the first one, but it's the very first poem, called No Room. When my mom decides to run away from home, she packs up her car with all the things that matter most to her. Her guitar and some books, all her CDs, her clothes, her shoes, Grandma's music box from the fireplace mantel, and the quilt from the bed she shares with Dad. She jams plastic grocery bags filled with soap and shampoo into the small spaces left in between things and ties a couple of suitcases to the roof. At the last minute, she throws in a few dishes, some towels, and a potted red geranium that guards the front porch. Dad tells her not to pack stuff too high so she can still see out the back window, but she ignores him and shoves her pillow between the guitar case and the portable TV. By the time she's done, there's no room left for anything else. No room left for Dad, and no room left for me. It is a heartbreaker of a story, but I think it rips your heart apart and it puts it back together again at the end as the girl, Rachel, and her father find a way to navigate their new life together. So those are my U.S. books. Now for something really, really different. As a writer, we struggle all the time to find ways to make some money. Just like artists, it's the same thing. You don't get paid really well for doing art, and you don't get paid really well for doing writing. And one of the things I would do would be work for hire projects. So somebody would say, I need a book on climate change, and I need it to be for second graders, and you can only use 7 words per page. And I would say, okay. And I didn't get royalties like I would for my U.S. books. I would get paid a flat fee like I was doing a magazine article. So it was hard work, but for a while it was pretty steady work. And I did a lot of work for a Korean company where they were using them in their ESL classes. And so I have a lot of these books available. They are different from U.S. publishing. The illustrations are different. The language, and some of them might be slightly stilted because the Koreans would edit it for grammar that worked for them in their classes. But if you have, these are very young books. These are either picture book type or, a kid sitting on their lap, being read to, on your lap being read to. So this is Monster Dreams. This is about a monster who's afraid there's a little boy under his bed who is going to eat him. And some of the illustrations on here and the things that he does to overcome his fear with the monster. Where Should I Go? This is a story about a kid that wants to see different things. He wants to see the animals. Where is he going to go? He wants to go on the slide and the swing. Where is he going to go? He wants to wash his hair and take a bath. Where is he going to go? So, Where Should I Go? This is The Smart Frog, about a snake that wants to eat this frog and how the frog outsmarts him. That was kind of fun. The Farmer and the Corn, just all about how a farmer plants his corn and how it grows and the whole cycle of life. Peels the corn and cooks it and has a yummy meal. This is about a child and their dog and how much they love their dog and all about their dog, all the things a dog does with them. So very simple, few words on each page. It's Vegetable Jungle. This is about a kid that does not want to eat their vegetables and all the things they go through to hide the vegetables. There's little flaps you can lift up in here to find things, and then what happens when they've hidden the vegetables and gets overtaken. Some of these books will have songs in the back of them. Some of them have stickers. So that's the Vegetable Jungle. This is the Magic Caterpillar. It's hardback, but I would go ahead and put that in with the softbacks. This is about a caterpillar that transforms into a butterfly. Everybody's making fun of his pet caterpillar, and then of course it becomes a butterfly, and it has a little CD and it's got some songs in the back of it as well. The Magic Caterpillar. These are some nonfiction pieces that, again, was like the climate change. Each one, they gave me a topic and said they needed a story to go with that. The language is for slightly older kids. So this is Science and Art, How a Lover Works, Colors of Hope, The Gift of Music. This is Friends Around the World, Life in the Zoo, and The Mummy. And so there's little fill-in-the-blanks questions. So there's a lot of activities in here as well to go along with the stories. This is Past the Vegetables, The Food Chain, and Let's Make Ice Cream. So you've got some little cards back here. Again, fill in the blanks. How to make ice cream in a bag. And then this one is Nature, Our Beautiful World, Nature Surprises, and Polar Bears in Danger. That would be the climate change one. That was quite an adventure to figure out how to write some of these things. So that's the 4 nonfiction ones. This is, I have a few of these left. This is kind of odd. I was given an assignment to write a story that had been ongoing a little bit, and this is about a tomboy girl named Joy, and she gets trapped on she's on an adventure with her parents on a cruise and gets trapped on a desert island. They didn't evidently worry about things like kids building fires and being on their own, and anyways, it was an interesting adventure to write. So if you're interested in that, I do have a couple of copies of Joy the Tomboy. It's how they survive on a desert island. It's different. And then I have one set of these. This is a complete set of phonics. So this is, learning your vowels and your consonants. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 books, and it just goes through different ways of learning that. Again, for this age group, I would sell the whole set, I guess, for $15, and that would include shipping. So there's the books I have, the Korean ones, my US ones. This is going to be low-key, first come, first served. You can send me an email to susantaylorbrown@gmail.com, and I will put that link down in the comments below, and then let me know what you want. And like I said, first come, first served. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time back with something artsy. Bye for now.